How you all doing? It's the Natural here and welcome back to another video on the channel and the last episode of the Football Impact for this season. And we're going to begin with the FA Cup final. Could Man City be the first English team to win the domestic English treble?
What do you think?
Obviously yes, because they just swept. They couldn't ask for an easier opponent in a cup final than a very attack-minded Watford side. But Man City just went from another level to another level to another level, and Watford could not deal with the attacking threat and the consistent pressure that they did throughout that whole entire game. Because in the second half, Man City just tore Watford to shreds every single time. And when Kevin De Bruyne came on, he was man of match, and he just adds so much quality to this team that this team already has, to be honest. So they totally deserved to win the FA Cup. It was an absolute frightening performance when you watch it as a neutral, really. I think maybe next season we may have a title race.
Oh wait, you're serious? Let me laugh even harder.
And then you watch this and you're thinking, Man City are just going to do Juventus, a Bayern Munich and a PSG and just dominate one damn domestic league. But I hope it doesn't happen. But you have to say Man City are going to single-handedly get better and better and better, because they're going to strengthen their squad in the summer and they get everybody else. So who's going to stop this Manchester City domination legacy that's going on right now? At the minute, I don't see anyone. And also, Manchester City's captain Vincent Kompany, Mr. Manchester City, he is leaving Manchester City and he won't be a Man City player next season and beyond. Going back to where he started at England as a player manager, we have seen next to Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard and Thierry Henry. It sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. We wait and see if he does well as a manager. I can't say, oh, he's going to be a brilliant manager or he's going to be a terrible manager. I thought Thierry Henry would be a good fit at Monaco. How wrong I was. So we'll put a question mark beside that, but hope he does well at England for his first job. And Man City, are they the best English side or the best ever footballing side of all time? I thought that was a great Barcelona team. Had likes of Xavi, Iniesta in their prime, Messi, David Villa, Pedro, Carlos Puyol, Piqué in their prime. Is this Man City team eclipsed that or better than that? You have to say, yeah. We're now heading to the Bundesliga, where Bayern Munich won their 7th league title in a row. They win yet another Bundesliga title to add to what has been, you could say, an average season at best, which is quite astonishing really, because they're actually in a German Cup final where they play RB Leipzig next week. But Bayern Munich quite convincingly won against Frankfurt. It finished 5-1. As much as Frankfurt did give them a scare in the second half when they got that equaliser, but Robben, Ribery stole the show in the second half, because those two are not going to be Bayern Munich players next season and beyond. Which it's going to be sad because Ribery and Robben have been absolutely great servants for Bayern Munich. They've been there, and Ribery's been there since 2008, and Robben's been there since 2009, 2010. So they're going to be massive characters gone from that dressing room for next season, Bayern. And we all know there's going to be a massive rebuild at Bayern Munich in the summer, because they're also going to bring in young quality players. And they're going to keep the likes of Coleman and Gnabry, who's going to be, I believe, breaker stars for Bayern Munich next season. Can they keep Lewandowski? Because there's speculation he may go to Real Madrid. Wait and see on that. But there's going to be a big rebuild at Bayern Munich. But they haven't had a great season. Dortmund, for me, bottled the title when they couldn't beat Hoffenheim when they were 3-0. They couldn't beat Werder Bremen when they were 2-0 this season. But they've won another Bundesliga title. They're 7th in a row. They could still win the German double this season, which a lot of people say that's not a good season for Bayern Munich. But you have to say, in Niko Kovac's first season, that ain't bad, to be honest. As for Frankfurt, they missed out on Champions League football because of Leverkusen, who got a huge win against Hertha Berlin this weekend. And that's a big win for Peter Bosz and Leverkusen, especially Leverkusen, because if they didn't finish in the top 4, there's no question about my mind, players like Leon Bailey and Julian Brandt would have been sold in the summer, because we all know if you don't get top 4, you're going to struggle to keep your top players, which those two are. And Peter Bosz came in where they were nowhere near the top 4. I think they were 17 points at once off the top 4 spots. So he's done in and done a dramatic, done an incredible job at Bayer Leverkusen, and now they're in the top 4. They take Frankfurt and Gladbach and will be in Europa League. It's going to be interesting to see if Leverkusen can close that gap to Leipzig and Bayern and Dortmund. I think that's going to be very difficult. because they need to sign a lot of quality players. It's going to be difficult. And now we're heading to Serie A, and it is a Pentago weekend in the top 4 race in Serie A, where Napoli played Inter and Atalanta played Juventus. We want to start off by Inter Milan, who went to Napoli, and I actually thought myself, you know what, Napoli had nothing to play for. Carlo Ancelotti's under massive pressure. There's very speculation that Napoli will bring back Maurizio Sarri.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god!
And Carlo Ancelotti will go back to Chelsea. It's all down to Inter Milan, who just need one more win from the final 2 games to get Champions League football for next season. That's not what happened. Inter Milan were appalling from start to finish. They were 4-0 down in the first 75 minutes. I know Inter Milan got a late goal at the end, but that just papered all the cracks what's going on in Milan this season. They have been nothing short of an embarrassment this season. The major problem in Inter Milan this season has been the whole Icardi situation, him being struck off the captaincy. Spalletti, who looks like, I think, on borrowed time or walking a death rope, I really don't think he'll be there next season. There's very big problems with Perisic and Angolan are having big bust-ups in training sessions. I just think right now Inter Milan are not in a good place. They just need to get their heads focused on the last game of the season, which is against Empoli, who, by the way, are fighting for relegation. So for me, Inter Milan need one more win. Remember, before they need a win, they just need one more point from the remaining game of the season, or I don't think they'll finish 4th. And I think AC Milan will get that last 4th. Imagine that. Imagine their arch rivals, derby rivals, most hated rivals, AC Milan, leapfrog Inter for the last day of the season. Atalanta played Juventus. Atalanta played fantastic against Juventus. They were 1-0 for the majority of this whole game. It wasn't for a late goal at the end for Juventus. They deserved at least a point in this game, Atalanta, and that point could be enormous come the end of the season, where they probably right now are in the box seat to finish in the top 4 because of Inter Milan's terrible form. And AC Milan, as much as they got a big win against Frosinone, who were only officially relegated months ago, but right now it's a 3-horse race for that last Champions League spot. It's between Atalanta, Inter and AC. Roma now cannot finish in the top 4 because 1 game to go, and I think they're 4 points behind with 1 game to go, which means they can't catch them. So it's between them 3, Atalanta, Inter and AC. Who do I think will miss out? At this moment in time, I have to go Inter. Also Juventus, Allegri either was told to leave or was sacked. I'm going, he was sacked. He's not going to be the Juventus manager next season. It'd be interesting to see who will take that job. And if I'm Aaron Ramsey, I'd be thinking, well, I just signed for Juventus because Allegri was the manager. Now that Allegri's gone, where's my future at? So the old lady will have a new man at the helm. And now that just leaves La Liga, and we're going to begin with Valencia, who got Champions League football after a convincing win against Valladolid. I think it was after they got a draw in the last game of the season, which obviously meant all they had to do was not lose, and that's what they did for Valencia. A good win for them the last day of the season. Valladolid, who already knew to stay up, they had nothing to play for. They already had their flip-flops on, their sandals on, and their nice sun hat on. I can't wait for this to go on the beach. Valencia had a great second half to the season, which has obviously compelled them to get Champions League football ahead of Getafe, because boy, the first half of the season Valencia were struggling in mid-table mediocrity at best. As for Valladolid, they've had a very good season unless their main goal at the start of the season was to stay up in La Liga, and they have achieved that. That just leaves Real Madrid's probably the worst season I think I've ever seen at Real Madrid, and probably I think it is Real Madrid's worst ever season. Why? Because they got beat by Real Betis at home. That is their 10th defeat at home this season in all competitions. That is their 18th defeat in La Liga. Let me say it again. Real Madrid have lost 18 times in La Liga. That is quite
mind-boggling.
And that sums up the problems as at Real Madrid. They've had 3 different managers this season. They had obviously Lopetegui, who we all knew he just gave the Spanish Federation the middle finger, and he went and took the Real Madrid job before anybody knowing, and it just backfired on him after getting humiliated by Barcelona 5-1 at the Camp Nou. They got sacked. They bring in Solari. He didn't do any better after getting humiliated by Ajax in the Champions League quarterfinals, and then they bring back the Messiah that is Zidane, And what does he do? He goes and says, this is the worst crop of Real Madrid players he's ever had. This is a team that this man won 3 Champions Leagues in a row, plus a La Liga title, 2 Spanish Cups. He won major trophies for this Real Madrid team. He says this is the worst Real Madrid team he's ever seen. That just sums up the problems of Real Madrid. They were never prepared when Ronaldo was sold. They were never prepared when Zidane decided to leave because he took this team as far as he can take it. And with Gareth Bale, who we all know does not have a future at Real Madrid because Zidane came out in his post-match press conference and said, if I had a 4th substitute, I wouldn't have played him. That sums up the problems of Real Madrid. There's so many players that just need out the door. If it wasn't for Zidane that came in at Real Madrid, this team wouldn't even finish 4th. Goodness me, how far they have dropped Real Madrid is quite staggering. But I will give a mention to Real Betis. A good win for them, 2-0 win. They end the season on a high. As much as they want, their goal at the start of the season was to get Champions League football, I still think they need to add more to their squad. They do have a good team. Their squad, maybe not the best, but if they can add quality in the summer, they definitely have a chance of fighting for 4th. Hope you have enjoyed the football impact for this season. I will be back next season, and I've got all our videos lined up in the summer, so don't worry. I'm not going to leave you. I do have some big project coming up in the summer, so be on the watch out for that. And also, if you are a Manchester City fan and you must be loving life right now after winning a domestic treble and seeing your arch rivals like Manchester United, who single-handedly are a fucking Beverly Hills mess, and Liverpool, who may still not win a major trophy under Jurgen Klopp, you must be the king of the castle, laying back and loving life. I'll be back next season with another Football Impact series and our Football Impact videos. Hope you all have a swell time, enjoy yourselves, say no to effing drugs. Please like, subscribe. The punk of YouTube, the natural, is out.